Today's subject is mysticism and philosophy. They are printed in a way, Eastern mysticism and Western philosophy. But I wanted to reduce the title Mysticism and Philosophy, because we have a general concept. Mysticism means it is only East. Philosophy means only it is West. It is not true. There are many enlightened persons, great mystics who are born in the West. There are many dull philosophers, dry intellectuals who are born in the East. So both has contributed for mysticism and the philosophy. So we will reduce the title to Mysticism and Philosophy. What is mysticism and what is philosophy? Philosophy is intellectual, the knowledge, the informations, verbalizations of experiences, memories of the past, assumptions about the future. These are all philosophy. It is more based on logic, collecting the information, analyzing them, coming to conclusion. Mysticism is more like transforming your life. It is the alchemy which happens in your being. The word alchemy you need to understand. Alchemy is the science through which they used to make lower metals to the higher metals. Copper can be transformed as a gold. Mercury can be solidified. The lower level metals will be raised to the higher level metals. Alchemy is the process which makes metals pure. The transformation of the inner being, I call it as ultimate alchemy. Alchemy which happens inside your being. A man becoming God, devil becoming divine. The words becoming realization. This process I call it as alchemy. Mysticism is more to do with alchemy. If you have a problem, physically, mentally or spiritually, how philosophy deals it and how mysticism deals it. If we understand, then we will be able to have a clear view about philosophy and mysticism. The angle of philosophy, the angle of mysticism. Enlightened people always called their philosophy as darshanas. Darshana means you need to understand, darshana does not mean philosophy. Darshana means whatever is seen. Whatever is seen, they are recorded. Those things are always called philosia. New word. Philosia, not philosophy. Philosophy is born out of mind. Philosia, mysticism, is born out of no mind. Philosophy is born out of matter. Mind is nothing but a matter. Mind is nothing but a biocomputer. Philosophy is born out of biocomputer. Mysticism is born out of bioenergy. Mysticism is the outcome of enlightenment. Philosophy is the outcome of intellect. Philosophy comes from intellect. Mysticism comes from intuition. Philosophy has got only 120-degree vision. Mysticism sees in 360-degree. That is why the mystics are always represented. The statues or the photographs of mystics is represented always with the third eye. Buddha, Krishna, Shiva, all the mystics. You can see there will be diagram. The third eye will be there. Third eye means the vision of 360 degree. All the sides they will be able to see beyond these two eyes. With intellect, you can touch only the level of head. Intellect is like a communication. Philosophy is the communication between teacher and a disciple, teacher and a student. Mysticism is a communion between master and disciple. Philosophy is the communication between teacher and student. Mysticism is a communion between master and disciple. To learn philosophy, just your head is more than enough. If you are a little bit attentive, that is more than enough. Nothing else is necessary. If your logic is sharp, you can learn philosophy. But to learn mysticism, it is not even learning, it is picking up. To have the mystical experience, you need to put your whole being. Whole being is necessary. Just an intellectual understanding is not enough. If you are in conflict, if you are in confusion, be very clear, still you are intellectual or philosophical, not mystical. The danger is people think themselves as mystics or they are in mysticism, but they are in intellectual or philosophical level. As long as you have confusion, as long as you are in conflict, be very sure you are only philosophical. Once I spoke on the different meditation techniques for intellectual people and emotional people. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, how can I find out whether I am intellectual or emotional? I told him, the very question shows you are intellectual, don't worry. The very doubt shows you are intellectual, because only intellectual people get the doubts. Emotional people will never have any doubt. They are very clear from the first day one. So you can be sure, if you have the doubt whether I am mystical or intellectual, be sure you are intellectual. Any conflict, because philosophy is the outcome of conflict. Mysticism is outcome of love. Philosophy cuts and analyzes. Mysticism unites and heals. That is why mysticism is always represented by the word yoga. Yoga means union. Yoga means union. It again and again unites and heals. Of course, philosophy has got its own use, utility. That is why we let the philosophy be alive. In the outer world, philosophy is the language. Doubt is the language. Logic is the language which can win, which can bring you bread and butter. But unfortunately, man cannot live only with bread and butter. If man can live only with bread and butter, we don't need mysticism. Philosophy is more than enough. Unfortunately, man cannot live only with bread and butter. We need something more than philosophy. If philosophy can satisfy, libraries are more than enough. There is no need for anything more. No need for churches, temples, mosques, or the monasteries. If philosophy is sufficient, libraries are more than enough. But philosophy doesn't satisfy. The language of outer world is philosophy. In the outer world, if you want success, you should know the philosophy, logic, how to doubt, how to question, how to analyze, how to cut. In the inner world, the very language is different. For the inner world, you need only mysticism or the help of a mystic. If you try to test a rose flower with a touchstone, what will happen? There was a man who was a goldsmith, went to his friend's house. The friend showed, see, such beautiful roses, how nice they are all. This man asked, I wanted to test whether they are original roses or plastic roses. This man said, go and touch and feel. You can understand whether it's original or rose or plastic. Goldsmith said, no. According to our profession, we test only through touchstone, never through just by touching. So he started plucking the roses and rubbing it against the touchstone. Using the touchstone, can he find out whether it's original rose or not? No. Touchstone is useful to find out the gold, to find out the originality of the gold, to work with the gold, but not with the roses. Philosophy, logic is like a touchstone. It is useful in the outer world with gold, but never with the inner world, the inner lotus. With the inner lotus, the touchstone cannot do. The language is totally different. The life has to be totally different. If you want to learn philosophy, you can learn just by words. Verbal language is enough. But mysticism can be learned only by body language. That is why the mystery schools, they call it in Sanskrit Gurukulam. In mystery schools, always it is recommended the disciple should stay with the master. Disciple should stay with the master throughout the day. From morning till evening, disciples are requested to stay with the master. If you want to learn something verbally, you don't need to stay. The concept of school and concept of Gurukulam is totally different. In school, you learn philosophy, you learn words from teacher. Whatever may be the teacher's character, you don't need to bother about it. Whatever way teacher may live, you don't have to worry about it. If teacher can repeat what is in the books, that is more than enough. You don't need to bother anything else about the teacher or the teacher's life. Just if he or she repeats what is in the book, over. You will learn, come away. That is why schools are always part-time. But the mystery schools, when you want to learn something mystical, mysticism, you always need to be with the master. Here, verbal language is not useful. Here, from body language you learn. It is more by his presence than by his words. It is more through communion than by communication. Communication became useless in the presence of the Master. I tell you, whenever you feel you have understood something from Master's words, be very clear, be sure you have misunderstood. Whenever you feel the satisfaction, oh, I am learning so much from Swamiji's discourses, be very clear you are not learning anything. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, I do not know English, can I come to your class discourses? I told him, you are the right person to come and sit there. At least you know, you don't know. People who know the language, they think they know, but they don't know. That's a very, really, it's a pathetic condition. If you know, at least you don't know. You know you don't know. If you don't know that you don't know, you don't even know you don't know. Most of the time, if you think you are learning something from me, you are getting something by attending these discourses, be clear you miss much. The importance of being here is not to listen to my words, but to listen to my silence. Not to listen to my words. If you listen to my words, you will miss the greatest thing which you can have from me. If you have the communication, you will miss the communion. You may ask, then why I am speaking? If I don't speak, you will start speaking within yourself. That is the reason I continue to speak. But if you observe, you can see many times I will be giving unnecessary gaps. For no reason, there will be gap. Those gaps are just to create vacuum inside your mind. Your mind will be just waiting. What is the next word? What is the next word? I give just unnecessary gap. If you listen my tapes, you can understand there will be many places unnecessarily vacuum, empty. People may think Swami is searching for words. A real orator will not give gap. According to the rules of orator, a good orator will never give you gap. But I am not here to orate something or teach you something. I am here to give you something. Teaching is different. Giving is something. Giving is different. If you know how to be aware of the gaps, silence, you will have my presence. I am here, or you are here only to have the presence, not to have communication. If I don't speak, your mind will start speaking to yourself. That is the only reason I speak. So that if I speak, at least your mind will relax. You will stop speaking. If you really stop speaking and start listening, you will start, not only you will start listening, you will see something more will be happening in you.